All right, so I guess Kodak Black the fucked up big time this time. You heard me? Uh, I don't know how he get a drug trafficking charge, but somehow, some way, he had to turn himself in to Pompano Sheriff's Department. I think.
84.
David Bigney on behalf of Bill Capri.
Bradford Cohen on behalf of Bill Capri, Judge.
All right.
Bill
Good
Capri
afternoon,
is
sir. If you
Kodak.
could just tell me your name and your date of birth.
Bill Capri, sir.
All right. Date of birth.
June 11, 1997.
All right. Thank you. All right, Mr. Capri, you are here for your initial appearance. You were arrested pursuant to an arrest warrant, so probable cause was previously determined by Judge Murphy. We are here for purposes of today for determining your bond,
That's crazy.
as well as conditions of bond. Before we do that, is there anything that the defense wishes to add?
I do, Judge. I just want to point out a couple things with the arrest and the affidavit for arrest. I know that PCOs are to be found.
Yes, sir.
Generally speaking, I always like to make the court aware of the strength or weakness of the case because I think that goes towards the bond. In this case, Judge, this happened in November. Oh, before I get to that, we also self-surrendered for the court's edification. We self-surrendered. He was in California. I had him fly back specifically for this case. I was notified by the U.S. Marshal Service and given the opportunity to surrender him. U.S. Marshal Service was beyond professional in this case, just for the record. But if you read the affidavit that is attached to the warrant, Judge, essentially what happened here was there was two vehicles.
Yes, sir.
Neither of the vehicles are registered to Mr. Capri personally. An officer approaches the vehicles. One vehicle, he says, smells like marijuana. He searches that vehicle, finds something in that vehicle that is unrelated to Mr. Capri. The second vehicle, and he doesn't even see Mr. Capri on the scene.
Okay, so he might get off on this one. I don't know. This is crazy, but he already got prior, so man, I don't know, man. Let's see how this go.
Point. The second vehicle, they then inspect. There's one person in that vehicle. There's two bags next to that person, both in the passenger side of the vehicle. One bag has drugs in it and some other items. The other bag has what he initially says, and he doesn't put this in his affidavit, he initially says that he tests it, and it tests as 27 grams of cocaine.
Oh, shit.
Which is just under the trafficking amount of 28 grams. When he then sends it in, allegedly, it becomes MDMA. So
shit.
I also have his original report that says when he originally tested it, it tested as cocaine.
That's crazy.
Inside that bag, there's some items that he says belong to Mr. Capri, an identification and some paperwork. He then sends things off to get printed. None of the things in that bag come back to Mr. Capri as his fingerprints. I think there were several latent prints taken off. None of them match Mr. Capri.
Oh, yeah, so he might get off on this one. I ain't gonna lie.
At that point, then Mr. Capri approaches the officer and is now on the scene, was not in the vehicle, and doesn't make any admission that the bag is his or anything like that. The officer then goes one step further and goes on Mr. Capri's Instagram, and on one picture in his Instagram, there's a picture of him standing next to a bag that looks like the bag that was in the car. Now, I know
bullshit. That is bullshit. You can't. I don't think you get him nobody up off no Instagram picture, bro. That's fucked up.
PC was already found, so I'm not going to argue PC, but it's really screaming at me. But I won't argue it. But I mean, the case law on this is so very clear, and I use two very, very, I think, esteemed cases. One of them is Edmond v. State, and the other one is McCrae v. State. And I'll just give you a very brief on it.
Right. So let me ask you this before we get into the case.
Yes.
One, has a copy been given to the state?
I'll give her a copy. I'm sorry.
Because certainly last thing we want to do is have a hearing by ambush.
That's crazy. A hearing by ambush.
And a lot of the construction cases, construction possession cases. So the Edmond case is kind of an amazing case. The police raid a house on a warrant. The guy's hiding in the closet with wet cocaine next to him.
That's crazy.
In a hole that his head is within 1 foot of the hole. On the stove is cooking cocaine.
Crack.
Next to the stove is his ID.
Make it crack, fam.
And some paperwork. In a bedroom in the house is more paperwork that belongs to him. The court found that's still not enough for constructive possession. It's kind of an amazing case, and I'll give you the exact site for it, but it's Edmond v. State, and the state has a copy of it. The other one is McCrae. In McCrae, they're pulling a guy over. They pull him over. He jumps out of the car and makes a run for it. As he's running, the officer sees that he's playing with his waistband and makes a throwing motion. He puts him down on the ground, arrests him, and tells the other cop, hey, go back and see what he threw.
That's crazy.
They find a baggie of cocaine, no fingerprints on it. They print it, no fingerprints on it. And the court says that's not enough for constructive possession. Those cases are so much closer to constructive possession than this case. And I would just ask the court, in considering a bond, to look at the case,
let that
to look
man
at
know, man.
the affidavit that's with
He
the
put
case.
his hand on
And I
that.
understand that the typical bond on this is $50,000. I'm asking for a $10,000 bond. I on my way here on the train, I was typing up a motion to dismiss. It's just there is not enough here. I get
Right, and I'll stop you there. I mean, obviously, you know that the motion to dismiss
I know.
is for another day. We're
know,
here
Judge.
for the sole purpose of
Yes, Judge.
determining bond and conditions of bond. Your
I do.
client,
And I appreciate, Judge. And I don't know if he
I've
wants
got the sites for you, Your Honor.
Oh.
Edmond versus State is 963, Southern 2nd, 344. It's 2007 case, 4th DCA. And the McRae versus State is another 4th DCA case out of 2006. And I do not have that site. Give him the case over there.
Let Kodak out, man.
Not arguing PC.
Let that man out.
Yes, sir.
Man.
I believe that the importance
Let Bill
of
out.
this
You hear me?
information,
Wild Bill.
the strength of the case is something for the court to consider. Additionally, again, as Mr. Cohen had said, this was a self-surrender case. This is
Yeah, he
not
turned
somebody who
himself
was a
in.
flight
Ain't
risk,
really got nothing
and
on
the
him.
strength of the case.
that man out,
using the word
Jeremy.
strength very
Come on, man.
loosely. Would ask that the court consider a low bond.
Hell, shit, nobody.
And he's never failed to appear,
Motherfucker.
as long as I've represented him.
as long as you represent him, there is at least one.
I've represented
player to
him since he was like, I don't know, 17. Yeah, there might be one really far back in the past.
There's one from 2016. Before I determine conditions of bond and bond amount, State, is there anything that you all wish to add?
No, Your Honor. As both attorneys said, they're not arguing PC, and
Come on,
PC
man.
has already been found.
That yak
The
out.
schedule for trafficking is $50,000. PC has been found for a trafficking, so the state would ask that you give a bond of $50,000. The state would actually ask that you increase the bond, as the defendant
What
is
the
a professional
fuck?
rapper. As
What the fuck?
counsel has
That's crazy as fuck. Y'all gonna increase this man bond because he a professional rapper, bro? That's crazy. That's rape. EPAR. That's great.
indicated, he flew in from
That's
California. He is also, when you do a search, listed as a Haitian American. He does not have any ties to Orlando.
They up in this bond because he Haitian, fam? What type of dumb shit is this, bruh? I need to do more of these, man. Y'all let me know.
He's from Pompano Beach, but again, he flew in from California. So state would not only ask that you have the bond at $50,000, in light of his occupation and lack of ties to Orlando, that it actually be increased, and one of the conditions be that he surrender his passport.
What the fuck?
If I can just address that very
He
quickly.
can't. He can't go out the country, bruh. That's crazy.
Judge. He is a proud Haitian American, but he is an American. He has a U.S. passport. He doesn't have any plans on leaving the country. I mean, we've faced cases that are 10 times this case, and I've won, by the way. But we'll put that in another bucket. But the fact that he's a rapper doesn't give you a
Thank you.
legal
That's
purpose to
crazy.
raise the bond. So I would still ask for a $10,000 bond, Judge.
All right. Well, I appreciate all the argument. Again, Mr. Capri, you're charged with trafficking in methamphetamine or MDMA, more than 10 grams, less than 200 grams. That is a first-degree felony. Again, you are entitled to a bond, so I am going to give you a bond. I have considered the strength of the case as well as everything that was set forth in the arrest affidavit. I understand the arguments presented by your counsel. I think one of the things that was left out was, well, you weren't necessarily claiming ownership of the bag. You were requesting that the funds within the bag be turned over to you. So there at least is some tie, seems like, to the court, to that bag. Nonetheless, I think in terms of bond, I am going to slightly increase the bond. I think based upon your, not the fact that you're a
That's
rapper,
crazy,
I think that has
fam.
no binding, but the other factors that the court considered is your prior criminal history, including 12 prior felony convictions. 2 misdemeanor
Damn.
convictions, 1 failure to appear. That was quite some time ago, so I'm not giving a ton of weight to the failure to appear. But I think an appropriate bond in this case would be $75,000. So that's going to be what the court sets the bond at.
That's
As
crazy,
conditions of your
man.
bond, I am going to order that you not return to the scene of the offense, which is 910 Bearvilla Road, Orlando, Florida, which is the Children's Safety Village. Additionally, I am going to order that you not have any contact with any of the co-defendants in your case, so specifically Mr. Avon Joseph and Mr. James Twitty. Additionally, you are not to possess or consume any drugs or controlled substances without a valid prescription. Additionally, this should go without saying because you are already a felon, but you're not to possess any weapons or firearms. Additionally, I am going to order that you not have contact with any of the other witnesses in the case, so specifically
That's
Gisgard
crazy.
Cantave, Arquita McDougald, Dion Rogers, and Mazrick Sanmelis. Aside from that, I believe those are all the conditions that I think would be appropriate in this particular case. Obviously, if you all are seeking to have the bond modified or reduced, you can file the appropriate motion with the assigned judge, and I'm sure they'll get you in the docket to address that for you. I'm also not going to order that you surrender your passport. I don't deem you to be a flight risk. Again, you only have 1 prior failure to appear dating over 10 years ago. So, Mr. Cohen?
Yes, Judge. This is one thing. One of those individuals is his brother. So I don't know how you don't have contact with your brother.
Which one?
Masnick. And then the other ones, I think there's some cousins involved in there. One of them is his manager. One of them is his road guy. So
Which one's the co-defendant?
It's not a co-defendant. You said no contact with the witnesses.
Right, but before that, I said Avon Joseph and James Twitty.
Yeah, I don't mind about that. That's fine.
Okay.
But there's the other individuals that had nothing to do with this case that were just on the scene. One of them is his brother, Masnick.
Okay.
And then I believe one of them is I think 2 are security and 1. Yeah, 2 are his security.
All right, which 2?
Which 2 are they? Cantave and Dion.
All right, so I will permit you to have contact with your team, so your security, and so that's Cantave, Rogers, and Sanmelis. You can have contact with them, so I'll strike the condition.
Perfect.
All right,
Thank you, Judge.
so much. Best of luck
Good
to you,
seeing you,
sir.
Judge.
You as well.
Come on, man. Let Yak out, man. That's some bullshit. They upping his bond because he Haitian and he a rapper, man. That is crazy, bro. I've never heard of no shit like that, bro. That's some railroad dog ass shit, man. Man, y'all let me know in the comments on this one, bro. I'm posting this shit right now, fam. This is crazy. This is crazy. For real. Y'all subscribe to BAM TV, like, hit the notification bell, you know what I'm saying? And let's keep this shit going.